And I mean, you want to talk about a Ricky Henderson to lead things off. Let's go to John Walters. I mean, this is as good as it gets. And he's in Ames, the football capital of the world over the weekend, where Iowa State was able to defeat, obviously, huge rival Iowa. John, thank you. First of all, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're busy. We'll keep you for like 15 minutes and let you get back to your life. But Saturday, I thought that was really important for Iowa State and for the Big 12. There was something very special about that. And even on the back end, like Joel Klatt talking about just the amazing experience it was. Dave Portnoy, same thing. I bet you never thought you'd hear that in Iowa State in the same sentence. What was it like to have that flair right there?
It was fantastic. You talk about a 6-hour infomercial for Iowa State football. I mean, Fox did a great job with the big noon kickoff. It was tremendous. They really pumped up what Iowa State's all about, and I think people could feel and sense that energy, and then it carried right over into the game. The game was terrific. The crowd was really into it. It was a very typical Iowa State game where it comes right down to the wire and it's low scoring and it's tense, and that's what this rivalry has become. And so great opportunity for fans around the country, and I think there were over 4 million viewers, to maybe experience Iowa State football when they hadn't experienced it before, and what Jack Trice Stadium can be like when it's that electric. And it was a great showcase for really both programs in the whole state.
Iowa State has been very special obviously under Matt Campbell, but for my money, just the past like 2 years, 3 years, what Rocco Becht has done in tough situations, like he did again on Saturday, just finding a way to make the winning plays. You've had a front row seat to that evolution. Give us some insight on this young man and what makes him so special and gives him the ability to make those plays in such critical moments.
Well, you're right on target. He has got that it factor that is really hard to pinpoint or put a description out there for it. But when the game's on the line, boy, do his teammates feel like he's going to make a play. Last year, he led 5 drives in the final minute to go ahead. I mean, think about that in one season to do that 5 times. Now, 4 of those games Iowa State won. The other one, Texas Tech, came back and scored and ended up winning the football game. But he's done it 8 times in his career, and he's still a young guy, just beginning his junior year. So his ability to do that over and over again just elicits all kinds of confidence in his teammates. And I think when you have that clutch gene, and to him, it's his dominant gene. It's the clutch gene. And
I love that.
Same with Kyle Conradi. I mean, with those kicks that he's made down the stretch in games. But it's such a feeling of, okay, something really good's going to happen here. We know that because Rocco's got the ball in his hands. And I think part of it is his upbringing. His dad was a great professional football player, great player at West Virginia. His mom was an athlete. He's just got a great family. And I think they, helped him to understand that there's going to be highs and lows and ups and downs. You kind of navigate through it all. And one of Rocco's best qualities is his ability, when he does make a bad play, to get right on to the next play and have a short memory. And so he's got a lot of confidence in himself, but he's earned it. It's not something that just happens overnight. It's something that over the course of 3 years, he's a real student of the game. He gets in, he studies film. He's constantly, as Matt Campbell says, curious about how he can get better. No matter how good he is, he just wants to keep getting better every single day. And when guys have that curiosity, Matt feels like you combine that with his knowledge of the game and his athletic ability, and you've got something really special.
Matt Campbell obviously done a phenomenal job, been there a decade. What is unique about this team's, and it's such a, whatever, you use the word culture, but what is unique about this team's culture as opposed to other Big 12 teams that has made Iowa State so special and kept him there and the sustained success, right, for a program that wasn't having that kind of success?
I think it's his investment in the players, not into their lives, not just into their football careers and trying to make them better players, which of course is a huge priority, but they invest in the nutrition, mental health of these players. They don't leave any stone unturned when it comes to how can we make this a really quality experience for this young man over the course of 4 or 5 years, because Iowa State is a developmental program. They're not just going to go into the portal each year and add 30 guys. The guys that are really coming on and you're seeing playing bigger and bigger roles each year are guys that have been within the program. You just haven't heard as much about them. Marcus Neal's a great example from Kansas City. You know, he's been in the program for a couple of years, started to emerge late last season. People said, wait a minute, we might really have something here that could replace Bo Freeler. And now he's playing at a super high level. But there's so many examples like that. And I think you're right, Pete, that everybody's going to claim a culture. And everybody does have a culture. They're not all good cultures. But Matt Campbell's created something here where guys want to stay. They understand they could probably go get more money somewhere else. But they look at the holistic approach of, am I improving? Am I getting better? Am I going to get an opportunity here over the long haul? And how is this going to improve my life? And when they have the maturity to kind of look at the big picture instead of just how much money is out there today, I think they really understand that it's a valuable experience for them to stay here, because Matt and his coaching staff really invest every single day in the lives of these young men. It's really fun to watch.
Who's a player that you have seen Coach Campbell sort of take a great interest in, and he has kind of come alive? Because a lot of these guys come to campus, they're very quiet, and you kind of miscalculate being quiet for being cold or aloof, and that's not what it is at all. And a guy like Matt Campbell can get the best out of these guys. Is there a particular human being, right, that he has tapped into and you've seen like, wow, what a change?
There's been so many of them, Pete. Honestly, over his 10 years at Iowa State, there's been so many guys like that. I think a great example on this team, and he was never quiet. He's got a big personality, but Dominique Orange is a guy that kept investing in and kept trying to get connected and help him mature and understand that he might not get a lot of stats in a game as a defensive tackle, a nose guard, but he's impacting winning when he's having 600 pounds leaning on him on every play and fighting off that double team and still getting penetration into the backfield and disrupting an offense. And Dom is playing at such a high level right now. I think he'll be a first-round NFL draft choice. He was great against Logan Jones, the All-American center from Iowa last weekend. But there's so many examples of guys like that. And it's so much fun to see guys. Enrique was one out of Detroit who's now playing for the Denver Broncos that really matured like that over the course of his time at Iowa State. I mean, I could go on and on, but it's just fun to see guys come in and truly come out of the program a different person than they were when they came in. And, you know, a guy like Gabe Burkle at tight end was a guy that's from Cedar Rapids, wasn't heavily recruited, came into the program, just worked his tail off and caught the attention of the coaches. They knew he could block, but now he's shown great hands and he's developing into a tremendous tight end to go with Benjamin Bramer. And so there's just example after example of that. And it's really rewarding to see that growth happen from within the program instead of always having to go grab something from outside to fix your problems.
It's rewarding for me to hear that from you, because I see at Big 12 Media Days kind of like the finished product of Dominique Orange, right? Like he's there, he's now a representation and an ambassador for the program. And now you get to tell me how that happened. That's why I love talking to guys like you. Like, people don't quite understand, like, someone in your role, like, you're flying with the team, you're on the buses, you're eating. It's a really, really cool part of the program. The radio announcer, and it's one of those things I love to try to tap into, which leads you to my next question. Why, in your opinion, did Iowa State respond so well from the 5,000-mile trip to Dublin, and Kansas State has struggled? And not so much about, their missteps, but what do you feel like Iowa State did right? Because that's a monster of a trip. And to come back, and you could tell, that FCS opponent, I guess it was Northern Iowa, you beat 55-3 when you came back. I could be wrong about that. It was South Dakota.
Yeah, South Dakota.
Yeah, yep. South Dakota. But I saw that score and I thought, okay, they did something right. Like, was there anything that you can put your finger on?
No, you're so right. I mean, that ability to come back the next week against South Dakota and win the way they did was one of the most impressive things that's happened in a season when you've beaten Kansas State and Ireland and you've beaten Iowa in your rivalry game. The sandwich game in between against a really good FCS program in South Dakota was, to me, maybe the most impressive win, because of the way the guys came back with laser focus. Because there were all those questions, the miles, all those things. But Matt Campbell has been investing in that trip from the minute he knew it was going to happen, calling other coaches that had been on the trip, because not many college programs have had success coming back from overseas. Then he called NFL programs, Nick Sirianni and other friends in the NFL and said, hey, look, how do you guys handle it when you go to London or you go to Brazil or do these trips that happen within the season? So he just was tapping into everybody's knowledge on this and looked at the nutrition part of it, looked at the sleep part of it, brought in sleep experts, just invested everything he possibly could into making sure that Iowa State wasn't another victim of going over and playing in that game and then not really being able to get your season on track coming back. He was way more worried about the season coming back than he was about the game. Now, he was worried about the game and trying to win it and investing everything they could in to win it. But his biggest concern was, how do you respond coming back from that? And so far, flying colors is what I'd say. And it's the amount of effort that he put in to making sure that would happen that's led to those results.
How about, by the way, you mentioned Sirianni. I had a UCF game. Alex Grinch, their defensive coordinator. You got Sirianni, Matt Campbell, Alex Grinch, another guy who I'm forgetting, all on the same Mountain Union team that was like undefeated for 2 years.
Yeah, Mountain Union has cranked. What an incredible coaching tree under Larry Karras. Iowa State's former offensive coordinator, Tom Manning, played there. He's now with the Colts as their tight ends coach. I mean, it goes on and on. The Mountain Union guys that are all over college football and the NFL. It's super impressive. And Coach Karras, his impact continues to live on years and years later.
All right, one more for you before I let you go. This team last year, I mean, obviously the Big 12 championship was a disappointment for the program, for the players. I thought it was, you see Rocco Becht coming back, right? You see, like, it felt like from 30,000 feet, almost everybody's back and still invested, everybody that could have come back, right? There's unfinished business. Is there a vibe around the team that is, you know, hey, we have not hit our ceiling yet? You know, like we have plenty of work left to be done. Is there a slogan or just an identity there that these guys are hanging on to keep them motivated all season long? Not that they'll need it going into the Big 12, but I think you understand what I'm saying.
I do. And Rocco Becht has talked about that, about kind of the unfinished business of, you know, they didn't like the way they played in that championship game. They want to get back there again this year and prove that they can win that game. And I think there's a big kind of chip on Matt Campbell's shoulder personally through the years of just saying, hey, I want to go do this at a place where somebody said it couldn't be done. And a lot of people were saying it couldn't be done at Iowa State. And this is, you know, 2 of the last 5 years, Iowa State's been in the Big 12 championship game. Now they got to go win one. That's kind of the next. And you got to get back there first, which is going to be super hard this year with the great teams in the Big 12 and the number of terrific teams. And a little bit of luck has to go your way, which happened last year for Iowa State to get into that championship game. But I think if these guys get the opportunity again, they'll make the most of it. But yeah, that is absolutely motivation for this team. There's no question about that. And, you know, I like the way this season kind of broke up where you have 3 bye weeks because of that trip to Ireland. And it's rare to get 3 bye weeks within a season, but I think that allows Iowa State maybe to stay healthier over the course of this long, long season, because you're trying to go from camp in, you know, early July with the Ireland trip, and then all the way you want to be playing into January. It's a long, long season. And last year, Iowa State got crushed by injuries, particularly at linebacker. Keeping this team healthy for the long haul is such an important part of the equation. And I think those 3 byes will help. But yeah, they are laser focused on getting back to that Big 12 championship game and having a better result.
One more add-on. You mentioned Matt Campbell. I think he's just so amazing. How close has he come to going to the NFL? And why do you think he stayed? And after this, I promise I'm finished.
Oh, you know, he's had so many job offers, and I'm sure we don't know about 90% of them. The ones that have kind of surfaced publicly were the Detroit Lions offering him $68 million. USC obviously was very interested in him. We've heard that multiple times. There have been other programs, I'm certain of it, that have shown a lot of interest in Matt. I think one thing that people underestimate is just how important his family is to him. And 10 years, this is where they've grown up, and he's got, you know, 4 kids that he just loves being invested in their lives. And he could be home from the office in 10 minutes here. You know, if you take a job in the NFL or you take a job at USC, it's probably going to be an hour each way getting back and forth from home, you know, and it's just those little things add up, especially, you know, he's coaching his kids' softball team and little league team as well. He coached his son's little league team. Quick story for you. He was sharing with me on the tailgate tour bus. He said I was coaching my son's team and they lost a game, and he told the guys, "Hey guys, that one's on me. That one's on me. Don't worry about it. Shake that one off." So they get back in the car, and his son, I believe it was Rudy, his son says, he goes, "Rudy, that ground ball was hit to you and you didn't get your glove down. You got to get your glove down to get that ball." And Rudy says, "Dad, I thought you said it was your fault." So he loved that. He said, "Yeah, he got me. He got me." And so, but he loves being a part of his kids' lives, just like it's so important to him to invest in the players' lives. It's the same thing with his own kids. And so that's a part of the equation that people underestimate.
John, man, thank you so much for taking the time. You do an amazing job for the Cyclones, and for you to take some time and give us some insight this morning means a lot. Wish you the best of luck. I'm sure I'll see you down the road here soon.
Sounds great. Thanks, Pete.
John Walters, that's a heavy hitter in Big 12 circles and in college football and college basketball circles. So a very cool situation to get a chance to chat with him about Iowa State. We're going to step aside and we're coming back. We're going to the bank. We got Dan Ingham here. 6'8". I mean, let's go. He's ready to rock and roll. A couple topics that he may not want to talk about. I got to ask him what's going on with Oklahoma State. I have to again after that loss, and then we'll get one of his picks. And I got one more topic I want to kind of tap into Dan's mindset on. We'll step aside. Presented by Slovaceks, the Pete Souza Show. Back after this.